Hello and welcome back to Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelorettes Season 19, Episode 7, Hometowns. With two bachelorettes, we have a lot more hometown dates to sit through, as both Gabby and Rachel meet their men's families, which inevitably alters their relationships. Some families support the relationships, while others are pretty skeptical of the TV show romance, and at the end of the episode, we are left with less men as we head closer to fantasy suites. Before we begin, please like and subscribe here at Whitney Alex Works for more recap videos just like this one. Alright, let's dive into hometowns. After all the romantic destinations in Europe, the cruise ship journey is finally over as both Gabby and Rachel pack up to head to their men's hometowns. We see Gabby first as she heads to Jason's hometown in New Orleans, Louisiana. We see Gabby meet up with Jason in the French Quarter of New Orleans as they spend the day enjoying all the culture and dancing to jazz music. Gabby says she is so happy with Jason, and they share a lot of kisses and romantic moments as they have fun with Mardi Gras beads, where Gabby is tossing them over the balcony to random people, hoping to get the party started. But unfortunately, it's only the daytime in the French Quarter, and the two head off to get a head start on meeting the family. Gabby thinks Jason is sweet and sensitive and hopes he can keep opening up to her as they further their relationship. Jason's parents are separated, so Gabby meets his father Michael first in a park where they talk about their shared journey, recapping their date back in Paris where they really connected with each other. Jason's father, Michael, is pretty emotional as he hopes his son can find happiness and hopes the best for Gabby and Jason as they continue on in their journey in finding love. We next see Gabby and Jason about to head in to meet Jason's mother, Karen, who starts getting emotional when she sees her son. Gabby is introduced and she is welcomed by Jason's mother and his sister, Kelsey, and we see Gabby talking to Jason's sister, Kelsey, and they really hit it off. Gabby makes a good impression, and she asks Kelsey if she thinks Jason is ready for an engagement, and Kelsey replies, 100%. Next, Gabby talks to Jason's mother, where they too hit it off as Gabby is giving off mature but good vibes. Then we see Jason talking to his mother, and he admits something rather shocking, which is he can't see himself proposing, at least not during the actual journey, and says he needs more time and space to process everything. Of course, this is shocking as we ask Jason as a collective audience, did he not know what show he signed up for? But he has his reasons, I guess, but he also admits he has yet to share this information with Gabby, which she is not aware of, and it seems Gabby is thinking the opposite with Jason, saying she could see forever with him and that she is head over heels. Well, there seems to be a mismatch with Gabby and Jason, but the lingering doubts on Jason's end stays silent as they end up kissing each other goodbye, and with that, we have finished Gabby's first hometown date, only 6 more to go. Next up, we see Rachel head to California to meet up with frontrunner Zach. He sets up a fun day for them as they ride around on bikes and eventually head to an airport to watch planes take off, an obvious ode to their week 3's one-on-one date. Zach and Rachel are still swooning over each other as Zach tells Rachel that he is falling in love with her, and they kiss as the planes are taking off in the background. It's a romantic moment between these two lovebirds as they continue to fall hard for each other. We next see Rachel and Zach about to meet his family, and we get introduced to Zach's mother and father and his aunt and uncle, who is Patrick Warburton, the voice of Joe Swanson on Family Guy, which is pretty fun, I bet, for Rachel. And Zach's family is extremely welcoming to Rachel as Zach is all in on his relationship, but this bliss leaves his parents concerned. And while Rachel is talking to Zach's father, Chapman, he made a comedic line that had me laughing for about a good minute, saying that being on this TV show romance, you could easily fall in love with a monkey, let alone his son. And whether that was meant to be funny or not, it was great comedic relief. And in response, Rachel does her best to share that Zach means a lot to her and that she hopes that they can continue to further their relationship. And Rachel says the same thing to Zach's mother, Megan, as Zach's mom shares her concerns with Zach being one of 4 men still left. And if you've been watching Bachelor Nation shows for a while, you know this is typical skepticism. It's just whether the couple actually gets approval in the end, or at least some best wishes. And eventually, despite some hesitations and concerns, Zach's parents do give them their blessing as they spend the rest of the hometowns watching another movie dedicated to Rachel and Zach's journey on the show so far, and by the end of the night, they tell each other that they are falling in love. The next hometown date is Gabby visiting Johnny in Palm Beach, Florida. They meet up and share a kiss before they quickly head off to meet Johnny's family, and despite having a lot of hometown dates, they are going pretty quickly, probably because there are so many to film, so they are jumping right in. Anyway, Gabby and Johnny head out to meet up with his family, and they are very welcoming. Gabby meets Johnny's mother and father, as well as his brother and his best friend. Gabby then talks to Johnny's father named John, where Gabby opens up about their relationship, citing that they have opened up with each other and that they have good chemistry. Johnny, despite being reserved, is cited as being loyal and has a lot to give, and while Johnny is talking to his mom, Elizabeth, they talk about a potential proposal with Gabby. Johnny knows things are moving pretty fast, but he isn't entirely sure about making a huge commitment just yet, as the relationship is still blooming. Well, in the end, Johnny's family loved Gabby and gave them their approval, and the hometown date ends with Gabby and Johnny heading out on the water on a boat and kissing against the beautiful Floridian sunset. Next up, we see Rachel meet up with Tyler in his hometown of Wildwood, New Jersey. They spend the day together exploring a boardwalk on the Jersey Shore where they have a wonderful time exploring an amusement park, eating corn dogs, funnel cakes, and winning prizes, as well as kissing on a Ferris wheel. But despite the playful atmosphere, there seems to be a cloud forming over the joyful day. As Rachel is meeting some of Tyler's friends, she starts to get pretty overwhelmed as she realizes that things are getting pretty serious and very real, especially when families start to get involved. And she admits that Tyler is not the one for her. She realizes that despite their connection, she sees her other relationships as further along. But the only problem is that Tyler is head over heels for her, and he tells her just that. As they sit on a bench, Tyler is pouring his heart out to Rachel, telling her that he is so in love with her, but Rachel has to tell Tyler that despite their fun connection, she can't see him as her person. And it's a really drawn-out breakup as Rachel struggles to come to terms with letting Tyler go, but she knows she needs to, and this is probably because she came off a deeper connection with Zach's hometown, and just like that, it's decided Rachel is letting Tyler go, leaving 6 men remaining, and as Rachel is crying and shook up about letting Tyler go, she knew she had to do it. And they say goodbye, but Tyler heads in to see his family anyway to break the news, and they are there to comfort him as he lets them know that Rachel broke up with him, and again 6 men remain, 3 left for each bachelorette. After Rachel says goodbye to Tyler, we see Gabby head in to meet up with her last hometown date, which is with Eric. Like Tyler, Eric is from New Jersey, and Gabby greets him with a hug and a kiss as they cut straight to the chase. They head off to meet the family, and things get emotional quick. Eric's father, Alan, is battling terminal cancer for about 3 years, and Eric tells Gabby that his mother is committed and fiercely loyal to their marriage. And it's pretty heartbreaking as Gabby meets the family, meeting Eric's father, as Gabby is an ICU nurse, and they talk about the realities of being in the ICU, where Eric's father, Alan, had to spend 40 days. Gabby is mature and friendly as she navigates Eric's tight-knit family, where she talks to Eric's mother about commitment. And if this is it, then they have to stick with it, no matter what. And sadly, at the end of the episode, we learn that Eric's father passed in July after filming, which is really sad as he was fighting cancer for 3 years. Before the hometown date ends, Gabby and Eric head off on a motorcycle and ride to a local tavern. They talk about how the day went, and they admit that their feelings are very real for each other. and it seems that Eric is a serious contender for Gabby's final rose. She tells him that she always wanted to be with someone like Eric, but didn't know if it was possible. And with that, they tell each other that they are falling in love with each other, and this is a big deal, as Gabby has stated that she only wants to tell one person that she loves them, and it's Eric. And it seems like Eric is definitely a top contender for Gabby's heart, as they have a hard time saying goodbye to each other. Next up is Rachel's hometown date with Tino. She heads to Santa Clarita, California, where Tino shows up in a Jeep, and then they greet each other with a hug and a kiss. They end up heading over to talk on a bench, where they admit to each other that they are pretty serious about each other, and despite Rachel and Tino falling for each other, they are about to hit a potential roadblock. They head out to meet Tino's family, who is immediately skeptical and question the entire process. Tino's father basically grills Rachel, asking how she could be in love with his son after only about 5 weeks, and asks Rachel to prove that she knows his son. And really, no matter what Rachel says, she's not going to get out of this unscathed. Tino's dad adds salt to injury by calling the situation a fairy tale thing, and Tino's mom is just as skeptical as she questions their fast-paced relationship. And Rachel admits she is shook as she feels upset about Tino's hometown and tells the camera that she was on the verge of crying. And in the end, Tino and Rachel step outside to talk about how the hometown went, and Tino seems to be in denial as he says basically things went great, and Rachel stops him saying that she didn't feel his parents actually liked her and that she basically got grilled the entire time. But Tino is in love, and despite his parents' skepticism, he is so sure of Rachel and says that he is falling in love with her and he can't see a future without her. And Rachel says it back, saying she is falling in love with him too. But despite the intense feelings they share, Rachel is left questioning her experience with Tino's family and whether or not they can move forward without the approval of Tino's mom and dad. And that's it. The end of the episode comes with only 6 hometowns aired. But wait, aren't we missing someone? Avon's hometown was missing from the episode, but have no fear, as we see in the preview at the end of the episode, that Avon's hometown date is actually being shown next week alongside the infamous episode of The Men Tell All, where host Jesse Palmer promises big things. Well, we will have to wait and see if that rings true, so until then... Thank you for watching Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelorette Season 19, Episode 7, Hometowns. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe at Whitney Alex Works for more videos in the future. See you next week for The Men Tell All.